Hey friends, welcome back. We were listening to Eminem in the car, and so guess who's back? Back again. It's me. I am Beth. I am one of the creators behind crochetrx. I run this business with my daughters, and on here we talk about things crafty, crochet. Sometimes we get into homeschool things because I am a homeschool mom. I'm also a nurse and diabetes educator, so I just do it all. Health coach, all those good things. There's more initials behind my name than in my name. But today I have some catch up to do on patterns that I've been doing, a pattern test that I've been doing that comes out the 17th, I believe. I will double check on that. And just some kind of updates to the craft room and what's going on here. So start things off. If you saw my reel, you saw that I finally did my emotional support snoop. So we have been talking about switching out this futon in the craft room and trying to figure out what to put here. We like having the option for a bed. There was a queen bed in here at one point, but to safely use the exercise equipment that's on the other side of the room, the queen bed is just too much. And so then we had, I guess we just swapped it out for this, but the futon is angled. You know how they kind of sit down at an angle and then you've got the back going up. So I don't sit super straight in this, and then I end up sitting at the edge. My legs are then, you know, I'm kinked because my knees are higher than my hips. If I turn sideways, I'm then cockeyed leaning backwards. And this just hasn't been the best seating for my back. So we were doing measuring, my husband was doing measuring, and talking back and forth while I was working on Snoop. And this was just a very basic, no-name crochet kit that I received. Like literally, there is nothing on here. My bestie got it because Snoop was hilarious. And I was in a bad spot. It was towards the end of summer. We were gearing up for our, fall craft shows. This was probably around the time that my family had gone back to the Midwest, and I stayed here with our slew of animals in the house, and I was missing everybody. My village is in Illinois. I am in North Carolina. So she sent me this emotional support snoop. It says, faux shizzle, you got this. Keep it cool, keep it real. And so I finally sat down and did him. So he's got some sneakers. So the kit leaves a little bit to be desired. Obviously, I'm far enough into my crochet journey, I can figure things out and finagle it. And the instructions weren't super clear. There were parts missing. Like, it never even told you to stuff it. But I knew before I closed it up that I should stuff it. So little things like that. But in the meantime of me getting distracted, I crocheted the face over his ear. Because there were 3 little knobbies, and I did the one. So I ended up having to rip that out. And so at the time of this recording, that Instagram reel has been seen like 16,000 times, which is, I think, the highest that anything has ever taken off for me. And funny enough, that exact same reel only has 300 views on YouTube. What the heck, YouTube? Hello? Oops, dogs are going nuts. The kid must be bringing the other dog inside. So this is my emotional support Snoop, and I love him. He is super fun. So Snoop finally got finished, and I think we've come up with a plan for a twin bed here, and then putting a storage, making it kind of like a day bed. So we will get a king headboard, a king storage headboard to put behind, and then I can have stuff behind me. And then it will be a full twin bed for whatever. If my husband's snoring and I need to come out and sleep someplace else, I can't. Or if we have guests, every once in a while we have enough people over that we need the bed. So I like having that extra option. So once figure out budget with having the new driver, the extra car, and a few extra expenses between college classes and things like that, I have to figure this out into the budget. It's just not quite as easy to spend the extra couple $100, especially when I don't have the craft show income coming in. So I think that is our plan for now, and I will see. I've got things kind of loaded in my cart. I can get a frame, a metal frame, and headboard cheaper than what we can buy the lumber for to make it. My husband had been measuring to see if we could just like model what the bed is that he built for us when we moved. And we've got a California king. The bedroom is behind us, which is why I'm pointing that way. This is a Jack and Jill sort of situation. And so I'm not sure why the master has a Jack and Jill, but it does. It's not because of a nursery, because the lady who built this was already retired. So, but, so this is the other half of the Jack and Jill. And, but when we moved, we sold the large waterbed frame that we had in our bedroom. We just had a sleep number bed in the waterbed frame. And so we needed to build a bed frame for here. So he built that and wondered about replicating that in a obviously smaller version, but it was going to be twice as much as what I can get the whole thing for, with just a basic headboard for $100 and a basic metal frame that we can then put storage underneath for like $40, $50. So we will just go that route. So at some point there will be an upgraded background over here for that. I had showed you my yarn haul last time from the Loops and Threads Posh Pearl that I had purchased. With that, I had also then gotten some gift certificates with the rewards, you know, the rewards program. So I had $20 to spend between a couple different points coupons. So I had gotten a Bernat white baby blanket and then another, I lost the word for it. One second. A Bernat tweed. So I'd gotten this blue fleck ivory tweed is what it's called. And this has done well for chickens, and I've done some cats in this as well. Then in the other yarn update, my Bernat that went on a tour of the United States finally made it in. So if you'll remember that there were two boxes that were coming from the same place. One got put on the delivery truck and one did not. So this one left North Carolina and went to Kansas, Missouri, and Kentucky, and then came back to North Carolina. So this finally did get delivered, and so this was the last of my large Michaels order. Then after that, I got selected for a pattern test. So this is the Sweetheart Chicken, super cute, and it is by Crochet with Kaity, and that's Kaity. So the ideas for this were the Sweetheart hearts, and so I originally said that I would do mint because I hadn't seen that in the list of people offering yet. So I did a little mint chicken. How adorable is that? So super cute, super fun, and just adorable. So this will be out on the 23rd. I guess our pattern testing she wanted to have done by the 17th for any corrections and updates. So I ended up doing a whole collection of the sweethearts. So I pulled up a photo of essentially just the sweetheart candy hearts, and I then picked out the different colors. So most all of these are original Posh colors, and I embroidered a couple of them just to make them. And then this is a Premier Parfait Chunky and bubblegum I did for all of them, because that's essentially the words on them are all the same color. So I did all of the accents in the same color. So this was super fun, quite addictive to make, and super simple, straightforward pattern. Awesome opportunity. I really like that. So we were having a good time in that testing group. And now I am working on did I mention last week that I got asked to make a tractor? I just got interrupted because children needed snacks. So the next thing I've been doing, I had a custom order for a tractor. Not just any tractor, an orange tractor. I was told none of those silly green ones. So I searched for a couple different tractor patterns, and the one that I settled on is from LauLovesCrochet. It is just called Small Tractor, and it is just a simple basic tractor. So I am in the middle of sewing, actually I'm slip stitching the bottom on. So then this will get stuffed, and then I will do the headlight accents, put some basic stitching down the corners to frame up the cab, and then do the tires. So it took a little bit of thought to do it the way that she has you do. You do the roof, you then slip stitch or back crochet, back loop only into one of these to start doing the cab down, and then you start doing rows, and then you start going back in circles. And so it is written well enough, but it took some brain power to follow along and see what she was wanting me to do. So this looks like it'll turn out well. It's for a 1-year-old. Apparently he's sleeping with his toy metal tractors, and so getting him a squishy tractor that he can snuggle with a little bit better. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not, sending this to a designer for Kubota, whoever it is. So good, close is good enough. So this is what I'm currently working on now. Then again, we don't have any shows until March. I did reach out to the one school that didn't do the fall Christmas market, and they got back saying that were going to be meeting the following day after the correspondence, and they were looking at April 11th. So I did put that on my calendar. I've got nothing going on at that time, so that would be a perfect another second show. That was a really great Christmas market for the 24 Christmas season, and hopefully can do well again at this little private school. Otherwise, I have a lot of work this week. I've scheduled myself for extra hours. My mom and a couple of her sisters are going to be in the area. They have rented a house or a condo in Wrightsville Beach. In the January, February time, in years past, we would go to Orange Beach. My grandfather rented a condo, and my mom would go down with him, get him set up, and then come back home. The sisters would go down, take turns, seeing the area, all that kind of stuff. And as years went on, Grandpa needed more and more help, and Mom then stayed with him, and then we would go down and stay with him. And the one time we then brought him back up to North Carolina, and then so Mom had come here after doing everything. The next day we drove to Alabama. She watched our pets. We then drove Grandpa back to North Carolina, and then the two of them drove back to Illinois. Grandpa's just not stable enough on his feet. He's 97 to walk the beach anymore, and the long road trips are hard. So there's no more Orange Beach with Grandpa. And this year, the sisters decided that they still needed to get away. It was good sister time. So the first stop is my aunt's winter home in South Carolina. And then the following week, they are coming to Wrightsville Beach for a little bit. So I stacked my work with toward the beginning of the month so that I have the majority of my work hours in before they get here. So I am working pretty much every day this upcoming week. So there won't be a whole lot of time for crochet between work and dance. So we will see what I get done. I'm really hoping to finish the tractor today so I can get this delivered tomorrow for that. I did not get any feedback on the granny squares from last week. So if you have a suggestion on where to start for granny squares, I would love to see that. I know that another creator that I follow, Blondie Knots, was talking about putting together some beginning knitting things. So kind of a tutorial where to get started, resources. So I'm looking forward to seeing that from her, but I would love to kind of get an idea on if there's a best place to start for granny squares. Is there a tutorial that walks you through it really well because I don't know how to read the charts, or is it just something that I jump in? And so let me know if there's a source or a resource that you have. As I went through Michael's to pick up those two skeins of yarn, they had some really cool books that I did not buy. You know, they're like $30, and I already have the one granny square flower box, which maybe I need to start with the other box of granny squares. Another creator had some issues with the flower ones, and so I don't want to jump into something and be overwhelmed and disappointed in myself because I can't do it because these are harder than something else. So if there's a good starting point or a good tutorial on where to begin, please let me know in the comments so I can kind of dig my way and figure out a good starting point for that. I certainly have lots of ideas of what I can do with granny squares, but I don't have a realistic time frame of how long these things take or anything like that. So I really need to figure this out and do a granny square before I start thinking about all these tote bags and book covers that I'm going to make. So super looking forward to any of that feedback. Definitely let me know. And was there other questions I asked now? My brain is gone. It's gone. I can't think of the other questions that I had asked last week. What did I ask? I don't know. All right, so that will be out the 23rd. Super duper cute. Oh, I bought some more patterns yesterday on Etsy. They were on sale. In my defense, they were on sale. So I got the koala pattern that just released from April, the Cozy Buckeye. And then there was, I don't even know why I saw it. Why did I see it? Was it another YouTube video I was watching yesterday? There was this adorable little brontosaurus that, maybe it was in April's video as I was watching her stuff. Adorable little brontosaurus that has hearts for, I gotta pause this because my Etsy is on my phone. All right, so it's Kind Maker on Etsy. Has this adorable little Valentine's brontosaurus. And then there's another blue butterfly dragon that I purchased. and a bat. These were all on sale. They were like 60% off. So I picked 4 different designs from her. Also a little reindeer that had a heart on its chest. It's a much smaller reindeer than some of the other patterns I have, so it looks much more friendly for making multiples. So those are some new patterns. So the Valentine's ones I will definitely be checking out. I don't have any Valentine's markets, but I find that even though it's kind of heartish or pinkish or whatever, that it still sells well during other times of the year. So those are some things that I will be working on, and I really need to stop buying patterns because I have more patterns probably than what I can make in the next 2 years. And I need to work on some of these other ones that I have kind of purchased with the intention of making. I don't know if I would just kind of challenge myself to work alphabetically through my crochet patterns file, or how I should do this. If you've got suggestions on how to work through your patterns, I would love to hear if you have a plan, if you've mapped out something, or how you go about trying to make sure that you actually do the patterns that you buy. It seems like a simple idea, but when you buy 5 patterns at a time over and over and over, and then only make one of them, you get backlogged. So I need to figure out a system or some way to go through and create these patterns. Certainly with not having all of the markets in the spring, I've got more leeway in what I can do. Although I have had the custom orders coming in pretty regularly these last couple of months, so, which is great. But I gotta keep up some of this other creativity too. So that is that. And I think we are caught up now. So definitely put a comment below about thoughts on granny squares, how you get through your existing pattern inventory, and I would love to hear some of that. So I will check you guys next week, hopefully, and we will see what I've been able to do in the meantime and see what progress we can make on some of these to-do and wish lists. Everybody take care. I appreciate everybody that sticks around and gives me a like, gives me a follow, and I will catch up with you later. Take care.